In this video segment, we're going to explore an additional feature built into the change proposal requests, or CPRs. That feature is called the Impacted Vendor Price Request. In addition, we're going to also show how a CPR, once approved, can be converted to a change order, and also the impacted vendor price request can be converted into either a purchase order, a subcontract change order, or a subcontract. To get started, under the Projects module, I've selected a project. I'm going to go to Contract Admin and down to the Change Proposals. I'm going to add a new one, so I'm going to go to Actions and click Add Manually. Select the prime contract. Note that the initiated by was from the project owner. I'm going to go ahead and mark this pending. That way the impacted vendors can reply. The CPR must be either pending submission or pending for them to be able to send in their pricing through the TeamLink portal. I'm going to give it an issue date and a status date and a subject. I'm going to just copy the subject down for the scope, but we do encourage you to spend a little more time on scope. I can attach existing drawings by selecting the magnifying glass icon and also RFIs. I do need to give the impacted company pricing due date and the date our proposal is due to the project owner. I'm also going to ask for an additional amount of time, or 5 additional working days on our schedule, and click Next. Next, I'm going to select those vendors that I want to request pricing from, so 2 subcontractors, and I'm going to click Add and Next. I can add additional linked files. I'm just going to drag and drop a little bit of spec information and click Finish. The next step, I'm going to go to the Actions button and send the pricing request. I'm going to send it to both vendors. They do need to have email addresses for this to work properly. They'll only see that you're sending it to them. So if you look at the preview of the email, it's going to have their individual name and individual company. They won't see who else you're sending this to. And then I'm going to click Send Email. And that brings us back to the CPR. The impacted vendor will receive an email similar to this. And scroll down, click the TeamLink portal, and see the same CPR request. They can see any attachments and enter their own reply. And click Save. Back to Corecon V8, we'll back out and refresh and open that CPR. And we can see the price request from the impacted vendor has already been updated in our CPR. Since this is at cost, we need to add it to the CPR that we're going to show to the project owner, customer, or client. So if we go to Add Import Items and go down to Import Impacted Company Items, we can bring that price request into our current CPR at cost. We do need to make a selection and click Add and Close. Now that it's been added to the CPR we're going to send to the project owner, we also need to add some markup. This could be done in 2 ways. We could open the CPR and change the unit price, or we could import and apply change markups to add these as a separate line. In this case, I want to add that manually. So the cost came in at $27.50 per square foot. We're going to just mark that up partially to $32 per square foot on the unit price. Click Save and Close. Now if we look at the summary at the bottom, our price to the project owner, customer, client, what we're going to pay the subcontractor to furnish and install. Go to Reports, the CPR request, There's a couple ways to print that out. I'm going to print it to PDF first of all. CPR and the detail. And while I'm here, I can also email that to the project owner, customer, or client, and wait for them to approve. Now let's go back to Contract Admin and go back into the change proposals. We need to make sure these are all approved. We're going to assume that the CPR we just sent out was approved by the project owner. We're just going to click Edit, update this to approved, give it an approval status date, click Save and Close. Back to Contract Admin. Now we're going to go down to Change Orders. And we're going to go to the Actions button, and we're going to add a new change order from CPRs. We can see we have 2 of those already approved under contract number 2, and since the project owners approved these, we're going to go ahead and convert both of these into one change order and click Next. In the subject, although you could get more detailed with that, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it approved with the status date. The item format can bring in all of the details for each of the CPRs or summarize one line item per cost code for these CPRs. We're going to bring in the detail so it shows up as it is in the CPR, and click Finish. See all the items brought in. It's referencing the CPR that it comes from. I could go back and change if for some reason these came back at a different price. We could change the unit prices. We'll leave these the way they are. We'll go to the top, Reports, Change Order Proposal, the change order, adjusted contract value. The individual line items from the CPR is now converted to a change order, and the total of this change order. This could also be emailed right from here. Now that these have been added to the prime contract and marked approved, we can go back out to the project home, down to procurement, and we can do this next step several ways. We could go to the purchase orders, and we can add a new purchase order from a CPR or from a change order. We can go to subcontracts, and we have the same options. Or we can go to subcontract change orders. We're going to use the subcontract method. We're going to select the prime contract, the supplier. There's the quoted price from the impacted vendor. There's our price to the project owner or customer. So let's just convert this to a subcontract. Click Next. And click Finish. The subcontract was created. The information was brought over at cost from the impacted vendor price request. It now matches cost code as it does in the prime change order. We want to go up here to the top to Reports, Subcontract Details. We can print that out. And that can also be printed on your own custom templates. If you'd like to know more about the information included in this training video, we encourage you to go to the help articles, to leads and projects, to contract admin, and review the change proposal request help article. The information covered in this training video, as well as additional information, can be found in these help articles.